Let's see here. One of the other notes that Nick Saban was mentioning, and I know that when he says this, Alabama's rolling, right? They're rolling no matter what. And he was discussing this kind of parity. And there's two things. One thing he said, but it also counters what the problem is in college football. College football's attendance is dropping. We mentioned that we had that graphic up earlier, or maybe last week, that college football's attendance is dropping. So is college basketball. Because there are, well, I don't know, people are just jointed. I don't know what it is. Or maybe they don't have the money coming off of COVID and the way the economy is has a lot to do with it.
Man, I think college athletics expects its fans to have money just no matter what, because they're constantly with their hands out, no matter what university you're talking about. Yep. I mean, here we are. It's a pandemic that we're still in, out. I mean, depends on who you ask, quite frankly, but it's obviously had its effect for going on a couple of years now. The economy is certainly not the best that it's been. I mean, it's kind of wild out there, and yet you've got Texas Tech announcing, $200 million facilities, and are they going to stop asking anytime soon? No, they're going to turn around and be like, now we need diamond-encrusted toilets for this thing. That'll get us the 5 stars, and there'll be something else after that, and some TVs, so it's never ending.
But one of the other things that Saban was talking about is the attendance in games is dropping, and there's many reasons. Craig just kind of reinforced that. But some of it is the fact that when you are getting teams to try to get to bowl games, you have to win 6 games. And I remember back early on in the Art Briles years when they started to try to get to a bowl game for the first time in 16 or 17 years, they were playing a very bad non-conference schedule. But to get to 6 wins, they had to. They were terrible, and they were trying to get at least better. Now, of course, they've increased that and done that better, and they get to 6 wins, you would think, just by being who they are, like a lot of other teams as well. But you have to get those teams to bowl games. That's what you want by getting 6 wins, so you're going to have a lot of blowout games. You wonder if that doesn't hurt. If, in fact, there are super conferences or whatever the future holds, won't those games become much more competitive and less blowouts if you have less teams playing each other and all of them are a part of maybe 2 or 3 conferences with some of the elite teams? Yeah, you're going to still have Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, whoever struggles. But won't that increase the better games?
Yeah, I suppose so. But, we don't know what that's going to look like, and that's assuming that there's some super conference. And I know that there technically is 2 super conferences, but I'm not talking about just in name. I'm talking about legitimately it's the AFC, NFC thing that people keep throwing out there and nobody else seemingly exists. That idea, then yeah, it would happen there. But in the real world where all these other teams still do exist and it's not about just 2 conferences, they're going to play non-conference games. I don't see how they're not going to. I mean, if they decided not to, then just play all conference games. I mean, I can't imagine that would be the best idea for everybody involved. So, yeah, I mean, I that could go to the wayside somewhat, but I still think it's going to exist in some form. I actually think while you're talking, people talk about why aren't people going to games as much and why are they not staying? I think it's because the TV products it's easier to digest on your couch rather than at home because, man, there is nothing more infuriating than sitting in a game, being in the mood, and then 5-minute commercial break. And you get 2 minutes of action, and then, boom, 5-minute commercial break. And you get 3.5 minutes of action, and then 5-minute commercial break. And in the action pieces, we've got referee reviews. We've got stopping the clock on every first down. We've got, and it's 4 hours. It's 4 hours to commit to a game. And I know right now, I don't want to go sit out in this for 4 hours, and a month from now it's going to be just like this, but you're asking people to pay money during a time where money is at a premium for a lot of people, and you're asking them to go sit there and you want them to go out there and have fun, but I don't think it's so much about you don't want to see Baylor blow out Wofford. I think people love blowouts. I think if you know your team's going to blow somebody out, then you might still leave at halftime. But, yeah, you're going to go check that out just to see everybody ball for a couple quarters because they're going to kick this team's teeth in, and you know that. I don't think it's the blowouts that lead people at home. I think it's the product sometimes that you get and in person because there's a lot of sitting around during college football games right now if you think about it.
Yeah, and we're lucky enough to be in the press box. We're covered up and have other things to do.
Every TV timeout, every review, every stoppage of the clock. I mean, I think just for me personally, that hinders the product as much as anything. And that's, to me, maybe as much of the – I'd rather sit at home for 4 hours in the comforts rather than sit in this hot 105-degree stadium, and half the time I'm just sitting here waiting for commercial breaks to end.
And again, if you're in your own comfort during a commercial break, you can go and get yourself a beer, go to the bathroom, go get yourself something to eat. All right,